Hello, I'm a Refashionista Sheri, and I just caught sight of my face in the camera like you do, and notice my nose is red, my chin is red, and I can feel my cheeks going rosy, so thanks, Rosacea. If you have been following me for a while, you will already know that I was diagnosed with rosacea back in 2014. And since then, I have been sharing all of my experiences with all of the treatments, including laser treatments and the lotions and potions over on my blog. I have a full index over there. I will link it down below so you can go see all the before and after pictures. And please let me know down below if you have rosacea as well. And what do you use to, help soothe the redness of your skin, especially in colder weather. Speaking of colder weather, that is why we are here today, because I'm going to share with you 2 no-sew tutorials and 2 very, 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 very easy sewing tutorials to use what you have to make what you want to make 4 amazing outfit toppers from stuff you probably already have around your house. And if you love what I do, I highly recommend subscribing because I share brand new videos every single week. And you know what? I think if you want to go even deeper, you can join my wardrobe revolution at refashionistasherry.com. But now it's finally time to get making. Hi, Editing Sheri here, just jumping in while I am in fact editing this very video. See there, I'm editing it because I created a brand new tutorial to add to this compilation, and it is for those times when you shrink your wool sweater, and this is exactly how you can fix it with no cutting, no sewing, no nothing. So you know what, we're gonna start with that tutorial. What do you do when your wool sweater has shrunk in some places and gotten bulky and weird in other places and just doesn't fit properly anymore? You grab some hair conditioner packets. I like to use the ones that come with my hair dye. And then you want to fill your bathtub with enough warm water to cover your sweater, add the hair conditioner, and mix it all up really, really well. Then plop your sweater into that water hair conditioner mixture, get it all saturated, and give it a very excellent stretch all over the place. You want to be stretching every which way. Then you want to just leave the sweater for about an hour in the bathtub and empty out the water, and then you want to let it drip dry, but before that, give it a nice squeeze and wring it all out, stretching as you're wringing it out. Put it on your drying rack. I put mine in the bathtub because it is very drippy. Then come back every hour or so and give it another stretch. Then once it's all dry, look at this, it fits perfectly. It is wonderful and soft. It smells fantastic, and everything is fitting as it should. For this insanely fast project, all you need is your funky granny square blanket and a pair of scissors. Alrighty, so you want to find a blanket that when it's folded in half, like this one is folded in half lengthwise, you can kind of, see yourself wearing it as a poncho or a sweater. So the length is just about perfect on this one. And then to find the middle-ish square, all I'm going to do is fold it in half again, like so. So now it is double folded. And you know what's great about granny squares? You could actually not even fold this at all and just kind of count the squares to find the middle square. But I folded it already, so let's just do it this way. Okay, so you see where my finger is right here? This square right here is going to be the middle square. So I'm just going to pinch it with my finger till I get back over to my table. Okay, so here is my center square, and you can see here very easily, because it's different colors, that here is the yarn from the center square that is attaching it to the square on this side, and here on this side, and here and here. So you just want to chop that connecting yarn of the center square. You do not want to chop any of the other squares because, again, this is a no-sew project, so you're only cutting the yarn that is attached and holding that center square. So see if we can get closer here so you can kind of see it better. Now, for anyone who doesn't crochet, like I do not crochet anything beyond a chain stitch so far, but I'm trying to learn. This is kind of a really easy way to make yourself some awesome crochet granny square gear, and I just love it so much. And I really love the fact that, you know, you can go in a thrift store, find something like this that was clearly made with a lot of love and took a lot of time, and you can give it a new life and give it a new purpose for something that you will actually love and even wear. Okay, so let's make our first cuts here. Cut that, and it should come out nicely. Gotta cut it again. And I'm just going to go all the way around the outside and cut all of these. And then I will go back later and remove the excess bits of yarn. Okay, so now our center bit is removed, and I mean, you can even use this now. You can use it as a little trivet or heating pad or a coaster, whatever you want. Just, you know, clean up those edges, remove this, and you have your nice little finished edge and a little mini granny square. Okay, so to remove this part, you just want to kind of carefully, let's do this one here, carefully chop through and pull that out, and that yarn should come right out of those loops. And you see here now we are left with this nice finished edge here. So now I'm just going to go remove the rest of these loops, and then we can put it on. And there is our finished head hole, and it definitely is going to stretch wide enough to get on and off of my head. For this super fast project, all you need is your shrunken, mostly wool sweater. I'm not actually sure of the wool content of this, but I think there's a lot of wool in it. So fingers crossed this is going to work. And your scissors. All you have to do is lay your sweater out on a flat surface, and then you can either measure the center or you can simply eyeball it like I'm going to do, and you want to cut straight down the center of the front or straight up from the bottom hem to create the opening for your cardigan. So luckily, it seems I was quite correct about the wool content of this sweater, because you can see it's not fraying at all here, not even a little bit. So you know what? If you want to be done right now and just wear it like this, you absolutely can. So that's it. You just chop it up the front, put it on, and then you can head out and be all cozy if you want. But you can also grab the ends and just tie them in the front, and there you go. You have like a little kind of bolero throw over for an outfit. Or if your sweater sides are long enough and stretchy enough, you can cross them over each other and tied in the back, and then you have a cool kind of wrap sweater situation going on. Mine are not long enough, clearly, but I want to go a step further with this, and I've never done this before, so we're just going to experiment a little bit. And I was thinking, I got my pin here, I was thinking, what if you just kind of crossed the front over like this a little bit, and let's put a little pin here to mark. Okay, and what if I put like a little button here and just cut a tiny little hole, because remember, it's not going to fray, and then I have like a little closure there, and it's kind of a wrap situation. So let's go try that. So first I'm just gonna grab my buttons here and take them over to my table. Whenever I use buttons, I always have to show my upcycled button storage because I'm still so proud of it. So I got this little wooden box at a garage sale going on 10 years ago now, and it's still awesome, still going strong, and it cost me 10 cents. And it has this lovely handle here, so I can, you know, be on the move with my buttons if I need to be. But I think we're going to grab the pink red jar of buttons. Oh, and these jars, they're just cleaned out olive jars. That's all. So again, this whole setup here cost me 10 cents. And now I'm just going to quickly stitch on the button I chose. And if you're not sure about sewing on buttons or mending or just basic hand stitching, then check out my Sewing, Mending and More Masterclass, because you know what? No one really ever taught me either, and I know how much that sucks. So that's why I created this course, because everybody should be able to do basic mending. The link will be down below for you. So you can barely even see my button. I chose a button that's like pretty much the identical color of the sweater because I wanted it to be kind of invisible. But now all you have to do is arrange it how you think you are going to want it to be done up here in the front, and then mark the area here with a little pin where you're going to put your buttonhole. And then we're just going to chop out a little tiny buttonhole. So you see, I have my little pin here, and instead of cutting, I thought, hey, let's be clever here and just kind of pick out a couple of the threads, and then that should be more than enough to stretch it open a little bit to create our buttonhole. Look at that, perfect. I mean, it's not looking great right now, but guaranteed when the button is through it, just let me grab the button, it's not even going to be noticeable at all. Look, perfect, perfection. Now let's go try it on and style it up. For this crazy easy Refashionista project, all you need is a turtleneck sweater that you don't mind chopping up, plus a scarf that wraps comfortably around your body. So I have flipped my sweater inside out and grabbed my scissors, and truly, this literally has two distinct turtlenecks on it. It just is the weirdest and most uncomfortable thing. Anyway, okay, so I'm only going to use one of the turtlenecks, but I'm going to chop them both off, and yeah, so let's just do that. And as you can see, I'm going to cut it as close to the seam here as possible. And that's just because I don't know if this fabric is going to start fraying immediately or not. We shall see. All right, so I have the rest of the sweater here, and I'm just going to set it aside because I'm going to use it for next week's tutorial. Plus, I have two turtlenecks, and I think I'm going to use the darker one for this project, so I shall put the gray one with the rest of the sweater. Because I think I want to have my cute little foxy in the front, I'm going to fold it like as a triangle, kind of like so. Yeah, so there we go. And then when I pop this on, this part here is going to, you know, hang down kind of over my arms. And yeah, isn't that cute? That's cute. But I mean, because we're making a poncho, it's, you know, you can kind of wear it however you want to wear it once it's done. But I think that's going to be the cutest. So we're going to fold this, as I said, into a triangular shape as evenly-ish as possible. And then we're gonna do, ooh, there we go. Then we're gonna fold it again. And then we have this lovely corner here. And now let's go over to the table and create our head hole. So I have my scarf folded twice. You can see here, one fold and then the other. And hilariously, the eye of the deer here is at the top of the kind of triangle. Yeah, so anyone who believes in conspiracy theories, come on down. Sorry, that's a terrible joke. Anyway, so now I'm just going to take my turtleneck and I'm going to fold it in half once. and then try to use the edge here to kind of measure the width of the neck hole that I'm going to need to attach my turtleneck. And I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller than the width of the folded turtleneck here. And yeah, let's just chop that off. Okay, so I have opened this up, and I'm just going to go from one side and try to kind of fold that around. That looks perfect. But you know what? I got to put it over my head to make sure I can get it on and off over my head. Alrighty, I can get it on over my head, and you can see here that when I pulled it on and off, it just started fraying. So let's get sewing quickly. Now, I have it laying with the right side facing down, and I have my turtleneck inside out, and I'm going to put the turtleneck inside the hole, like just super easy, and line up the raw edges. Now, the reason I have the wrong side of the turtleneck facing the right side of the fabric is so when I wear it, I can fold the turtleneck down, and I will then be showing the right side of the turtleneck, if that makes any sense. I will show you once it's all done, so hopefully it'll make more sense to you. But for now, just trust you need to have the wrong side of the turtleneck facing the right side of the scarf. Okay, now just go stitch it all together. That's it. It's so simple. Okay, it is all stitched on. Now let's do the moment of truth here. So you can see this is the right side of the scarf, and we have the wrong side of the turtleneck. And when I fold it down, la la, everything is as it should be. Hooray! I also went ahead and did a tight wide zigzag over the outside seam here, just for extra strength and to help prevent fraying, because this scarf was really fraying. Okay, now let's go put it on and style it up. For this quirky cardigan project, all you need is your knit blanket, a pair of scissors, and your hand sewing gear. If you are unsure about hand sewing, go ahead and download my Sewing Basics ebook. So because I already made this granny square blanket into a no-sew poncho, my general neckline area here is already done. So all I have to do is remove these squares here to open up the front to create my cardigan. So now I have to remove all of these granny squares that are in this line on the front to open it up to be the cardigan, right? So all I'm going to do is the exact same thing I did with this one, and I'm just going to chop the gray yarn and gently pull it out of the green yarn here. So then that way I will still have this nice finished edge all the way down the front of my cardigan, and I won't have to try to faff about trying to crochet it closed, which I really am terrible at doing. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing this. It does take a while because, you know, you got to be careful. You're not cutting things that shouldn't be cut. And once this is all removed, we will come back and do the next step. Okay, now that the front bit has been removed here, you can definitely see how this could pretty easily be turned into a cardigan. Or I can see it. I mean, it's in my head. It's already done in my head. So fingers crossed that what's in my head is actually going to work when we try to do it on the actual blanket here. So let's pop back over to the table and see what's next. So my table definitely wasn't big enough to lay it flat, so I have put it on the floor, and you can see here I have these two front flaps folded over at the top. There is the open center part there, and now I need to go grab a loose fitting jacket to use to create my side seams and sleeves. So I decided to use my super fluffy faux fur Cookie Monster jacket because it is so loose and wide and perfect, I think, for a cardigan template. So all I did here was line up the collar with the collar area of my soon-to-be cardigan, and then I simply came over here and I popped a pin at the edge point, the side seam area here of my jacket, and then another pin right there at around the underarm seam area. And you can see here now, I'm pretty much going to be chopping out these 2 rows of 3, and I'm going to do that on both sides of my soon-to-be cardigan. How perfect does that look? That's definitely looking like a cardigan now. And all I have to do is go stitch this seam together here and that seam, and that will create my side seam and my sleeves. And I'll do that on both sides. And I'm going to use a blanket stitch because, well, this is a blanket. And again, if you don't know how to do any sort of cool hand stitches, grab my Sewing Basics ebook or take my Refashioning 101 e-course. How absolutely adorable is this? Come on, this came out so perfect. The only thing that I'm not happy about are the sleeves, because of course they are just a little bit longer than my elbow, but you know what? I still have those side pieces that I chopped, so let's go figure out how we can use them to extend my sleeves, and maybe I can make some funky bell looking sleeves, so let's get to it. So I have 4 of the chopped out side pieces here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I did was I grabbed 2, popped them together with the right sides facing, and then using my funky little blanket stitch, I stitched the open sides together and I created these little sleeve cuff tubes. And I think these are actually wide enough that I can make them bell out a little bit, which is so super cool. So I now have 2 fabulous sleeve cuff tubes, and now it's time to stitch them onto the sweater sleeves. So I have my sweater laying right side out, and I have my sleeve cuff inside out, and now I'm just going to pop the sleeve cuff over the end of my sweater sleeve, and I'm going to match up the chopped edge here with the hem of my sleeve. And you can see I'm going to have to gather it just a little bit here as I'm stitching, or maybe I can just even stretch that to match, but it's going to have a slight bell, which I love so much. And yeah, now I'm just going to go stitch this on, repeat on the other side, and then we're going to try it on and style it up. How awesome is this? You know I love bell sleeves. Like I can't not love bell sleeves. It's not in me to not love bell sleeves, which is why I have like a whole playlist full of sleeve tutorials, including a heck of a lot of bell sleeve tutorials. I'll link it down below. But you don't get any easier than the tutorials I just shared. We have no sew and we have very easy sewing. If you can't sew, do the no sew ones. If you can sew, make all of them. But if you really want to brush up on your skills or just get started upcycling and refashioning your entire wardrobe, go ahead and join my wardrobe revolution. Link will be down below, and read all of the wonderful things that you get when you join me, Refashionista Sheri. Let me know which one of these you're going to make this weekend, because I mean, I've already made them, so I don't have to make them. I'm going to be doing different projects this weekend to share with you next week. And if you want to support my channel even more than subscribing, liking, sharing, and leaving your wonderful comments, which always, make me feel so great. I really can't express how wonderful it is when I get notifications that I got these wonderful comments, and I always respond, right? Even if it takes me a day or two, I do always respond. And I love getting your refashioning queries as well, because it gets my refashionista brain going. So any questions you have, feel free, as always, let me know down below. If I have a tutorial, I will give you the link. I'll answer with the link so you can go do your project. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch ya on the zigzag. And I want to personally thank my wonderful channel members here, because those little bits and bobs every month really do help me behind the scenes. And if you want to join my channel, here's how. For just 99 cents a month, you can help save a struggling refashionista. For just 99 cents a month, you can help sustain the much-needed work that goes on behind the scenes. Every thrift flip, every DIY, every upcycle, every free tutorial can only continue with your support. Join my Refashionista crew for only 99 cents a month, less than the cost of 2 bananas or a pack of gum, and help me continue teaching anyone who wants to learn how to use what they have to make what they want. Don't let affordable, sustainable DIY style become an endangered species. Join my Refashionista crew today.
This is Confessions of a Refashionista.